Hey y'all, Nick Pomeroy here with PR Equipment. Today I'm actually in the field, if you can't tell. We wanted to do a quick little demo of the basic features of the Sveaverken F100 system. Not going to go real in depth with all the features and functionality. This is just going to be a quick kind of overview of what most people are going to use. Maybe I think in the future we'll probably do something. We'll start utilizing the smart turn and maybe do a little bit more. But right now, to be honest with you, it's pretty wet out around this area, so we're kind of limited on the places we can drive. So I figured we'll just do kind of A-B line, last pass, talk about setting boundaries and things like that, and how to make it show up applied area, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll get started. So just as a reminder, if you didn't see our kind of kickoff video talking about this system, that this is the Sveaverken, hopefully I'm not butchering that name, I'm really trying not to, F100 system. This is the basic system. The only difference between the two is the software unlock, and you can buy the basic and upgrade to the advanced. But for most of what we're doing, I think the basic is going to be pretty well good enough. So I kind of want to run through the system a little bit. We'll just, like I say, we'll talk about some of the basics, and then I'm gonna fire it up and we'll show it in operation. Kind of starting off here, hopefully the glare is not too horrible. Kind of starting off, when you fire it up, this is the screen you're going to be on. Of course, you're going to need to set your implement width, and there's a little bit of setup that needs to be done. And of course, if your implement width changes, we'll need to do that. But when you get this thing ready to roll, you know, there's a few buttons on the screen that are going to be kind of important here. So I'll go back here. Let's talk about the overview button. So I really like how intuitive this thing is. It is very simple, but you can save implements. And so right now, you know, we can set up different implements, working with things like that. How much overlap do you want? What you're working with? We've currently got this set to 15 feet. With the 2-inch overlap. That might be maybe a little light, but that's what we like. You can change your task name. So like I'm gonna do spraying, right? A lot of what we're gonna be doing here with these systems is gonna be spraying. So we're gonna be doing spraying. It'll keep track of acres and things like that, but we're gonna get out of here. So now this is changed to spraying. And we've got our implement width down here. I'm going to leave it at 15 feet. Of course, you know, if you're spraying, you're probably 30, 40, 100 to 120 feet, you know, just depending on, a lot of our folks are pasture spraying, but if you were obviously in a row crop sprayer or something doing 120 feet, you'll kind of get that. You can import and save boundary lines and whatnot. I'm not going to dive into that a whole lot. Really just want to go over some of the basic features. So there's a 2D and a 3D mode that just changes your what it looks like on the screen. The button up here is if you want to add a camera. It's got a really cool camera feature that you can add. And the screen, one thing I like about this is there's a lot of these systems that can do the camera, but the screen really isn't big enough to make it work. And so that's kind of disappointing. There is a menu button. Oops, went too far, where you can obviously change some settings and things like that. The purpose of this video is really just kind of to show it in operation, so I'm just not going to dive into all the different settings and calibrations and diagnostics and things like that, but you can clearly do vehicle library, implement libraries and things like that. Currently we've got this thing set up on a tiller. You can add a implement, and here again we can kind of do all those things at some point in the future. But if you wanted like a new implement, because we talked like, hey, we're going to be doing some spraying, and so you've got all your different options here. And so seeding, spraying, we said we were going to be spraying. You can name your implement, how it's connected, whether it's 3-point, whether it's pull type, the brand of implement. You can set a lot of features. It's not important for the purpose of this video, but there's a lot you can do. You can save fields, you can do upgrades, system upgrades and things like that. You can do applications. So this system does come with basic U-turn included. We're not going to dive into that primarily because I don't have a big enough field. I need more way lines for that to work. But you can set up your U-turns. And of course it comes with the basic system that says permanent validity. And so you can turn basic U-turn off, smart tune, confirmed, yeah. So So you'll have to turn that on, and then you can do the U-turns and things like that. Obviously camera settings and a lot of stuff here. Anyway, like I said, I wanted to keep this video kind of short, so let's get back to the heart of it. We're gonna be really focused on just a couple of these settings. So A, and that's guidance line. And so with guidance line, you've of course got AB, last pass, or kind of follow me kind of deal. There's the A plus heading, so it's you set your A and you do a pivot or an angle off of that A, or off of your A point. You choose an angle, and then finally kind of working on pivots. Most of what we're going to be doing is going to be A or AB or last pass. We'll probably in fact, we'll probably do both, but I'll get to that here in just a second. So let's quit that. So we're going to start with an AB line. I'm going to change the camera setting. We're going to start with an AB line and show you what that looks like. So starting out here, I'm going to just do a quick AB line, and we're just going to go straight back and forth. So I am sitting still, but I'm going to go ahead and set A and start driving. Now you have to drive, I'm going to try to watch it. I think every system has a minimum to determine your heading. It's about 35-40 feet. Now in my experience, you get a lot better heading if you'll take it out to 100, 200, 300 feet, or in the ideal situation, your A's on one side of the field and B's on the other. I'm going to go ahead and engage B and save that guidance line. Go ahead and click on steering so we can go ahead and get on our AB line. You can see it's doing a very good job of driving a straight line. So I'm going to come down here. We'll turn around, find us another AB line, and go ahead and engage it and let it kind of get us back online. So we're going 8 miles an hour. That may be a little bit fast. We'll go 7, 8 miles an hour. This is kind of spraying speed, maybe cutting hay speed. So we're within a couple inches all the time. And for a WASP-based system like this, that's not bad. As we roll over some of these bumps, I guess I've seen it get as far as 4 inches off. But for spraying, it's kind of hard to beat that, or if you're doing general field work. Now there is an RTK option for this. This is an RTK compatible system. You switch it to RTK, it's super, super accurate. But keep in mind, we're running off of just WASP right at the moment. I'm gonna kick it off. We'll turn around. I want to come right back on that, right back over the tracks that I just drove. There they are. So I'm going to kick it on and see how accurate we are to our last line we just drove based off our tire tracks. Let's do a last pass style line. So obviously this is following your last pass through the field, and so you're going to set an A. You're just going to drive as you normally would. I'm going to put it in third gear. We're doing 5 mile an hour, 5.5 mile an hour. I'm going to make some curves like maybe we're following a creek. So once you get far enough, it'll populate the B, and that B is just going to be, that's going to recreate whatever we just did, that last pass, however that curvature is, or whatever that is. So I'm going to get just a little ways down here. Just kind of following kick it up to 6 miles an hour, just kind of following a contour, maybe around some trees, something like that. I'm going to set the B. So now, we'll spin around, we'll accept that line. I'm going to try to get back on my last tracks here. So I want to keep it steady at my 5.5 mile an hour speed. So obviously A-B line is going to be easier for it to follow, and not have an RTK when you get into this kind of last pass. When you get into that last pass, it's maybe not quite as accurate. It also depends on, you know, we're kind of a little bit of a rough field. We're kind of following a contour, but it looks to be kind of within 6 inches, you know, most of the time. You know, there it bumped up to 7. But he does a pretty good job following the last pass. And we could probably continue to maybe calibrate the steering system. But for a WAS system that's running off a steering wheel, it's doing a pretty darn good job. You know, if I'm within 4 inches and I'm doing pasture spraying, I'm a pretty happy individual here in my area. So I'm going to turn back around and try to get right back to where we were. And I'm going to get a little closer, and then I'm going to kick it in. Now, I didn't get on the same line, unfortunately. So we're on a new way line. I needed to set, you know, what I should have done was set my width of my implement out to 30 feet or so. That way I'm not always on getting on the same line. So I'm creating a new guidance line here. This is our AB line. We're just going to do a straight line back and forth. I'm going to get out here about 100 feet, and I'm going to set B. I'm going to accept that line, and I'm going to engage auto steer. So I'm at 7 miles an hour currently. This is 10 miles an hour. I'm going to kick it out. Back around. Get engaged on an AB line, get it up to speed. We're at 9 miles an hour. And it's doing a great job at holding this AB line. Probably the next thing that you guys really want to be able to do in these fields is track where you've applied. So the next thing we would do is, if I was spraying, I would hit the record button. And now not only are we steering, but we're tracking where we've applied or where we've sprayed. So So obviously with auto steer, and I'm talking to probably a lot of folks who maybe don't currently have auto steer, it allows you to do other things. Focus on your sprayer, focus on where you're going, focus on, you know, your planter, whatever you're pulling. It's going to allow you to focus on that implement. So let's turn around here. And I should have probably kicked off my application, but it'll be okay. Re-engage steering. And you can see there's a slide overlap, but I've actually got it set for a slide overlap. So it's doing a 3 inches, 2 inches, 4 inches off. In comparison to you know, doing this by hand or whatnot, this is just much more accurate. It's going to prevent skips and save you a lot of chemical. So y'all, if you're looking for a simple guidance system, you know, you want auto steer, even just maybe the mapping, you know, obviously we sell this as a set with auto steer, so it's really not an either or, it's a both together. But this is a pretty darn affordable system that does a pretty darn good job. And one thing I want to note is how quiet this is. I don't hear this motor turning this wheel at all. So it's doing a phenomenal job. I really like this system. It's a clean setup. We've got these in stock, or at least we currently do. Let me kick that off. At least we currently do. I do highly recommend adding the Bluetooth remote. It just makes life so much easier. We've got those as well. So definitely a system you might want to check out. I'll engage it one more time. And let it help us get us back online. And here we are, back online. I'm impressed with this system, folks. Like I say, we got these in stock. We're selling quite a few of these. Reach out to us. We can ship one to you. We'd love to install it for you. Whatever we can do to help y'all out. Thanks, y'all.